Hi, I'm Phil Schoener, and welcome to my Disability Overview podcast. I'm a multimedia communications teacher at the Wilkes-Barre Area Career and Tech Center, so I use some of my technology that I use in my classroom to jazz up my podcast a little bit using Final Cut Pro editing software. I hope you enjoyed it. My topic is specific learning disabilities. The Individuals with Disabilities Education Act says specific learning disabilities means a disorder in one or more of the basic sociological processes involved in understanding or in using languages spoke or written that may manifest itself in the imperfect ability to listen, think, speak, read, write, spell, or to do mathematical calculations. I think it's important to point out that learning disabilities is a name that we give not to a specific disorder, but rather to a group of disorders. It's an umbrella term, meaning a group of different disorders points to a specific disability, specific weakness, and ability to do reading and writing, spelling, math, or other kinds of skills that are needed to succeed in school. On your screen now, specific types of learning disabilities and related disorders. Learning disabilities are real. They affect the brain's ability to receive, process, store, respond to, and communicate information. Again, in review, LDs are actually a group of disorders, not a single disorder. Who has learning disabilities? People of average or above average intelligence, but still struggle with some skills that impact their performance in school, at home, in the community, or in the workplace. Each person with learning disabilities processes information in their own special kind of way. And more they know about what they need to succeed, and the better we know as teachers and parents about what they need to succeed, the better that the person with an LD will achieve these goals. How long do you have a learning disability? Learning disabilities are lifelong, and the sooner they are recognized and identified, the sooner the steps can be taken to overcome the challenges they present. How can you tell if someone has a learning disability? There's no x-ray, blood test, quiz, survey, or questionnaire that can be used to confirm or rule out the presence of a learning disability. According to the National Center of Learning Disabilities, the hallmark sign of a learning disability is the unexplained gap between a person's level of expected achievement and their performance. Careful and thorough review of concerns with the input from multiple sources, which include parents, very important, educators, physicians, psychologists, and of course the person themselves, is the only way to rule out a learning disability. Another important thing to think about: learning disabilities affect every person differently, and they present different stages of development. Learning disabilities does not discriminate. Learning disabilities are not caused by economic disadvantages or cultural differences or lack of educational opportunities. LDs is not the result of poor teaching. It's not the result of laziness. It's not the result of poor motivation. Learning disabilities like dyslexia runs in families. Dyslexic parents are very likely to have children who are dyslexic. Are learning disabilities common? 2.4 million school-age children in the U.S. are identified as having specific learning disabilities. Current studies suggest that 15 to 20% of the population has a reading disability. Of those, 85% has dyslexia. What can you do about a learning disability? Learning disabilities are lifelong challenges. They don't go away. What makes learning disabilities so unique is they're not a disease. There's no single one course of treatment or intervention, that works for everyone. The key is to recognize that there is a problem, may exist. Seek help, get evaluated to identify types of accommodations and services and supports that will lead to success. Again, in review, every person with an LD is different. Identification of learning disabilities. The process of how learning disabilities are identified is currently undergoing some changes. These changes make it all more important for there to be a close communication between parents and schools. Before, teachers and parents didn't have the knowledge they have now about learning disabilities. Now both the teachers and parents know some common signs they should be on the lookout for identifying LDs. Such things as maybe difficult pronouncing words, maybe slow to add new vocabulary to words, things like that. Early identification is better. If a parent suspects that their child might have a learning disability, it is important that they record it, write it down in their observations, and share them with teachers and physicians and others who might be able to help confirm or add important details. Some LDs don't find out they have a learning disability until they're in high school, college, or even grown adults, but it's never too late to identify and get help for a learning disability. Accommodations and modifications. Children with LDs are entitled to have accommodations like extended time, readers, note takers, or modifications like abbreviated tests, alternate assignments. Under the Individuals with Disabilities Act of 1997 and the Americans with Disabilities Act of 1990, people of all ages with LDs, children and adults, are protected against discrimination and have the right to different forms of assistance in the classroom and the workplace. Instructional strategies for LDs allow students to tape record class lectures. It's helpful to rehear instructors teaching the material, be able to go back and go forward, hear it again if they wish to. Allow the use for spell checking and grammar assistance devices. This allows the LDs to focus more on the information or content that they're trying to get across instead of being bogged down using a lot of their brain energy to make sure they're spelling and using proper grammar. Maintain daily routines. Many students with learning problems need the structure of the daily routine so they know what to expect. Write key points or words on the board. Prior to the presentation, the teacher can go and write down new vocabulary words that will be used in the key points on the board. That helps a person with learning disabilities be able to follow it more. Technology can be a great tool for students who have learning disabilities. There's such apps out there as the auto books. Students can listen to the books and go on with the text-to-speech app that allows for different kinds of formats. Speak It, easy set font sizes. It will listen and pause and resume playback with text-to-speech apps. Speak It is another great app. It can be used. It can also be used on the phone. Web Reader, the text-to-speech app, has an option for male or female high-quality voices. Learning disabilities can't be cured or fixed. We pretty much stated that. But with the help of current tools and technology, a child with a learning disability can work around his or her difficulties in reading, writing, spelling, math, organization, and memory. Thank you very much for watching and listening to my podcast on learning disabilities. I leave you with some of the websites I use to research this podcast, so you can go to those sites for much more information. And finally, I want to leave you with this. People with learning disabilities are often very bright and gifted. Did you know these famous people have learning disabilities?